Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now this isn't the video that I was supposed to be uploading today. The video that you would have been watching today it is a tutorial lesson on the art of playing legato, slithering around the neck using hammer-ons and pull-offs and so on. And there's a section in that video, small section, but it's there, on two-handed tapping. And it just seemed not quite appropriate to upload that video today, given the news that we've all heard. I heard the news last night about the death of Eddie Van Halen. So that video is going to be going up on Saturday, so stay tuned for that. Eddie Van Halen, no longer with us. What can I say? Well, first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. I did a video a while ago entitled 5 Bands I Don't Get, and yes, Van Halen were one of the bands on that list. I'm not going to sit here and be all disingenuous and, two-faced and say, now that Eddie's gone, and declare myself to be a lifelong fan of Van Halen, the band, because, that would seem to be, in poor taste to do something like that, as well as being dishonest. So it is, Van Halen as a band, they were just never really on my radar, I gotta tell you, but there you go. So it is somewhat surprising that this news has shocked me as much as it has. The nearest I can liken it to is it's like walking down a street that you've been familiar with since your childhood, and then suddenly one of the defining landmarks of that environment is suddenly gone, and there's a huge gap, and that's kind of how it feels. It's just there's a big change in the topography of the world of electric guitar. And, whilst I may not have been a massive fan of the band Van Halen, I do, as I'm probably sure you've seen, I do use the whole two-handed tapping thing quite a lot. I didn't learn it from Van Halen. I learned it from, of all places, a BBC TV show in the 80s called Rock School, which was basically an educational thing on the BBC that was exactly what it said. It was a rock school. It was showing rock musicians how to play their instruments, and that's the first time I really saw anyone doing two-handed tapping by one of the instructors on that show. But the fact that it was even part of the rock landscape in such a big way that it featured on a TV show is due in no small part at all to Eddie Van Halen and his playing. He didn't invent the two-handed tapping style. It's been a feature of flamenco guitar playing since anyone can remember. And even in, a rock setting, players like Robert Fripp and Steve Hackett were employing that technique best part of a decade before the first Van Halen album came out. But that doesn't matter, because it's a little bit like the fact that there were internal combustion engine cars on the roads long before Henry Ford released the Model T, and there were steam-powered locomotives travelling along tracks long before George Stephenson and the Stockton to Darlington Railway and, the rocket and all of that. The mark of a true innovator is to be able to take something, an existing technology or technique or methodology or whatever, and spot potential in it and develop it and exploit it beyond anyone's imagination that had used it before then, and, essentially put their own stamp on it and make it their own. And that is what Eddie did with two-handed tapping. And myself and millions of other guitar players around the world, whether or not they are or are not Van Halen fans in terms of the band and their music, we all owe him a massive debt of gratitude for bringing this innovative technique to the masses and showing us what can be done with it and giving us more colours that we can use on our palette when we're playing the guitar. And that's pretty much all I've got to say for today, apart from rest in peace, Eddie. You'll be missed, mate.